Hello, welcome to the video on fractions and decimals. This is our example set A video, and our focus here is going to be writing fractions as decimals. Okay, so if you recall from the lesson, the way we do this is we use a calculator to divide the numerator by the denominator. It's as simple as that. It's actually very easy. So we're going to take a calculator, we're going to take 2, for example, in our first problem, we're going to take 2 and divide it by 5. Okay, that's what this fraction is actually literally saying. 2/5, is right here, means 2, the fraction bar is division, divided by 5. So let's go and get a calculator out and do this. Now you could do this by hand, but there's really no sense when you have a calculator. Everyone should have a calculator, hopefully, at this level. So 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. Okay, so this is equal to 0.4, and that's it. It's actually very easy. All right, so move on to our next problem. 1/9. So we're going to take 1 and divide it by 9. Okay, so we'll go ahead and type that into your calculator. So we get 1 divided by 9. And now you notice here that the answer is 0.1111, and it just keeps going. It fills up your screen. Now this is what we call a repeating decimal. So the way to write this, instead of writing all these ones here, the digit that's repeating is the 1. Okay, so you're just going to go ahead and just go 0.1, and we're going to put a bar over that, and that indicates the 1 just keeps repeating. Okay, so 1/9 is equal to 0.1. Okay, a repeating decimal. All right, moving on. Okay, so we have 7/13. So if you feel comfortable with what we're doing here, go ahead and get your calculator out and tell me what 7/13 is as a decimal. Okay, so to do that, you're going to take 7, you're going to plug that into your calculator, you're going to hit the division operator, and then you're going to plug in 13. So let's be clear here, you're going to go 7 on your calculator, division, and then 13, and then you're going to hit equal. So let's go ahead and do that. 7 divided by 13 is equal to, now this is a pretty long decimal, so I'm going to only write the first few digits. This is 0.538461. Well, actually, I'll write out everything I see on my calculator. 5385. Now, believe it or not, you may think that this particular decimal just keeps going and going and going and going. But actually, any fraction, the technical definition of a fraction is what we call a rational number. And rational numbers, when you write them as a decimal, what we're doing here, a fraction as a decimal, these decimals are either going to turn into one or two types, either repeating decimals or terminating decimals. Okay, so here these digits seem like they keep going on for some sort of random way, and there's no way of knowing. That's not the case. Okay, a fraction will always turn into either a terminating, in other words, it's going to stop 0.4, or repeating. Now in this case, it looks like we can't tell because the digits are going out so far, but I assure you that there is some sort of pattern here that you can pick up on this, but we're not going to get into this in this particular lesson. All right, so 7/13 is 0.5384, and if you gave me those first few digits on a test, I'd be fine with it. Okay, so let's take a look at our last example here, and that's 3 2/7. So this is a mixed number. So the first thing you have to do to write a fraction as a decimal when you're dealing with a mixed number fraction is to take that mixed number and turn it into an improper fraction. So let's go ahead and have you do that now. So recall, we're going to take 7 and multiply it by 3. So that's going to be 21. Then we're going to add it to this numerator right there. So 21 plus 2 is 23. And then we're going to write that over the denominator there, 7. So 3 2/7 is the same thing as 23/7. Okay, this is, I think, is the easiest way to write a mixed number as a decimal. So the first thing you want to do is turn it into an improper fraction. And now let's just go ahead and do what we were doing before, and that was to take the numerator and divide it by the denominator. So 23 divided by 7. Okay, I'm getting let's just call it 3.28. 3.28, actually we'll tack on a 5 there, so 3.285. Now, another way you could have done this is saying, okay, I have 3 and 2/7. You can write the 3 right here, and now let's just go ahead and change the 2/7 part into a decimal. So that's going to be 3 point. Now take 2/7, 2 divided by 7, and you get 0.285. You can just write that right here, 0.285, 71, etc. Okay? All right, so main thing here is that you need to know how to take a fraction and turn it into a decimal. And why? Well, oftentimes working with fractions can be a little bit awkward, especially when we're doing a lot of calculations, and especially when we have a calculator, right? So you definitely want to be able to take a fraction and turn it into a decimal. It's just going to make your life a whole lot easier, okay? But with that said, we also need to know how to take a decimal and turn it into a fraction. That's going to be our next example set. All right, so keep working hard. Good luck. Hope to see you there.